I was 17 years old as a senior in high school, and I remember sitting in the counseling office as my counselor's trying to help me figure out what my future's gonna look like. And I remember my guidance counselor looking at me and telling me that I would never amount to anything. The lady that's paid to tell me that I'm gonna succeed in life tells me I'm not gonna amount to anything. And I remember taking that and thinking, man, what is my future gonna look like if even the people that are supposed to believe in me don't? But I stand here now, 13 years later, as someone who spoke to over tens of thousands of people, an ex-professional athlete. I have a college degree, and I'm a published author. And I want you to know that people are gonna say things to you, but your future does not rest on the opinions of other people. Your future, yes. Your future is what you wanna make it. Your future is what you are willing to do. The opinions of other people cannot stop you. And as you head into this new season of life, students, as you're looking forward, going, I'm not sure what's coming next. I don't know what it's gonna look like. And parents, as maybe you're in the same boat going, I don't know what this next season of life is gonna look like. I know what it's like. I've been where you're at, not knowing what it's gonna look like. I remember when my wife was pregnant with our first child and we were going into the hospital to see the first ultrasound. We were gonna hear the heartbeat. We were gonna see the first picture of our baby. Anyone ever seen an ultrasound picture before? You have absolutely no idea what you're looking at, right? And people will show it to you and they'll say, look how cute my baby is. And you're like, what the heck am I looking at, right? But you lie and you tell them it's so cute, right? Because you're thinking, I don't know how you're gonna give birth to this alien, but okay, go ahead. So I remember sitting in the room and the ultrasound is going and we're looking at the screen and honestly, it looks like a little cockroach kind of moving around on the screen. I'm like, I'm gonna be a father of a cockroach, cool. And then the nurse, she turned to my wife and she asked my wife this question. She said, have you been pretty sick? And now my wife had been super sick. If you looked at her wrong, she would throw up on you. She was throwing up 9 to 12 times a day. It was a mess. And so my wife told her, yeah, I've been pretty sick. And the lady said, well, there's a reason for that. You have twice as many hormones. Now, right away, my wife understands what she's saying, but I'm like, twice as many hormones? Does that mean something's wrong? What's happening? And she goes, no, there's a reason. You have twice as many because there's 2 of them in there. Now, it took a while to sink in for me. My wife right away, she's like, ew! And I'm like, wait, 2? 2 what? 2 what? What do you think? The screen flashed, I saw both of them on there, and I'm like, I'm having twins. I was walking around, I'm having twins, I'm having twins. I'm having twins. I lost my ever-loving mind. I opened the door to the hallway and there was nurses down the hall and I yelled, I'm having twins, slammed the door, and I lost my mind. And then I started letting it sink in a little bit. And I realized, I am scared to death about the future. I am scared to death because I have no idea what it looks like. I have no idea what it's gonna be like. I have no idea if I'm going to survive it. And I know as you're looking forward to your futures, you might be feeling some of those same things. I don't know how I'm gonna make this next season of life work. I don't know what it's gonna look like. There's a fear of the unknown and a fear of what's gonna happen next. But what I want you to know is that every single one of you in here is going to accomplish big things. Accomplishments are going to happen in your life. They're going to happen. But how you get there is what really matters. The accomplishments are gonna come, but how you get there is what matters. My wife and I recently started receiving these box dinners. You've seen these where they come in different ingredients and it's basically like cooking for dummies because I can prepare a nice bowl of cereal and that's about it. And so my wife was like, we're gonna get this box, and they send ingredients to your door and you feel like Chef Gordon Ramsay and you're making awesome meals. And I realized something about that. It's not that difficult if you just simply stick to a recipe. If you stick to a recipe, you can create things, you can make things. And there's a recipe in life for creating leaders and for creating good humans. And I've figured out this secret. There's authors that have written about it. There's things that have talked about it. And I've discovered in life that there's a recipe for how you can succeed. I want to share with you what that recipe is. And the first ingredient in that recipe is loving. And some of you, that's a little bit of a letdown. You're like, wait a second, I thought it was gonna be something awesome. I thought you were gonna be like, you gotta be ferocious and you gotta be conquering. No, loving. And let me tell you what that means. Because some of you, right away, you're like, I don't know, it sounds kind of lame. But love can actually be one of the most powerful things. It can change you and it can change those around you. And here's when love starts. Love happens when we start seeing people, not what people do. When we start loving people based on who they are instead of their performance. When we love people not because of their performance and not because of their religion and not because of their race and not because of their appearance, but we just simply love people. When we live in a world where it doesn't matter what people do and we don't evaluate them based on what they have accomplished, but rather who they are. I grew up playing sports and specifically baseball, and as I grew up, I was always one of the most fiercest competitors, one of the best players, and I realized later in my career that I ended up only liking the people on my team that were also good at playing baseball. And there were so many people that I didn't see for who they were, I didn't see for how they acted, I didn't see them as people, I saw them for their performance. And it didn't occur to me until later in my career when there was a lot of other people on my team that were way better than me, and I was the one that was on the lower part of the performing. I was the one that was not as good as everyone else, and yet my teammates still loved me. They still cared about me. We need to not evaluate people based on their performance to decide whether they're worthy of our love, but just love. We need to learn to get rid of the because. When it comes to loving people, it's not because they did blank. It's not because of the situation they're in. Instead, just love them. Instead, just love people. I found this quote from best-selling author Bob Goff on love, and he said, "Love cares more about who's hurting than who's watching." More about who's hurting than who's watching. I had a friend named Don, and Don would go every Thursday night to downtown and feed homeless. Every Thursday night he'd go, and I'd say, "Don, we're gonna hang out tonight. What are you doing?" He's like, "No, I'm going downtown." And he would invite me, and I would kind of blow him off most of the time, but one time he invited me, and I said, "I'm not gonna go with you, but I'll come pick you up afterwards, and we can hang out." He said, "Okay." So I picked him up, and as I got there, he got in my car, and I realized that Don didn't have any shoes on. I'm like, "Don, dude, you're missing your shoes." He said, "I know, I hoped you wouldn't notice that." I'm like, "Well, how did I not notice? You're not wearing shoes." He said, "I know, I saw someone that needed them more than I did." I said, "Don, why would you do that?" He said, "Because I saw someone that was hurting." See, we need to love people not because of what they've done, not because of their status, not because of the accomplishments that they have, but simply love people. That's the first ingredient to this recipe. The next ingredient is this, it's caring. Care about what you do. There are so many different paths that are gonna be taken from the students represented here. So many different paths that are gonna be taken. But whatever you choose to do, care deeply about it. Care deeply about what you do. My 3.5-year-old daughter, she thinks that she is Queen Elsa of Arendelle. Any Frozen fans in here? Anyone know what I'm talking about? She thinks that one person, it's all good. She thinks she's Queen Elsa of Arendelle, and we were at Disneyland about a month ago, and we were there with some friends, and my daughter had gone into a store with our friends, and she comes out and she is wearing like an authentic Queen Elsa dress. I mean, this is like the real deal, and I saw her and I thought, oh my gosh, how much money did we just spend? But she was so happy because she was wearing this Queen Elsa dress, and she gave it 100%. She cared deeply about this. And we went around Disneyland, and it was awesome, and it was amazing. And whatever you do, I want you to care about it as much as my daughter cares about being Queen Elsa. But here's the thing. It's pretty easy to care about being Queen Elsa when you're at Disneyland. It's pretty easy to care about whatever you're doing when you're in the spot where your boss is looking at you, or where you need to study for a certain test, or whatever it is that you're doing in that moment. It's easy to care about it. But the thing that makes me to look at my little daughter and say, wow, that's how we should care, is the fact that every day for the last month, she has still worn that dress. to school, to play, everywhere in between. We have to sneak in the middle of the night to wash that thing because she is deeply passionate about what she does. Care about what you do. But don't just care about what you do, care about others around you. Care about other people around you. I was sitting in traffic yesterday, so I pulled out Waze on my phone and I heard that magical sound, accident ahead. And right away I'm going, really? I have places I need to be. Why would you get in an accident and inconvenience me? And then I started thinking about it. Isn't that what we do? Isn't that what we do? We think about ourselves and we think about the issues that we have, and we are not gonna get where we need to be because somebody got in an accident. Not a single thought about how they're doing. Not a single thought of how much their day is messed up. Not a single thought if they're okay physically. We need to start caring about the world around us. Caring about people and helping them succeed. Helping others succeed, not just using people so that we can get ourselves farther ahead, but caring about people, caring about those around us. And we show it by being present. By being present, not just being physically with someone, but being present with them. I was watching the movie Inside Out the other day, and if you've seen it, it involves all of the little people in our head that make things happen outside. And one of the scenes, the mom says something to the dad, and the dad is sitting there with a blank stare, and all of a sudden, all the little people in his head are running around and going, did you hear what she said? Did you catch that? Did you know? And all of them are like, we have no idea. And the dad just nods. Right? We're with people, but we're not with people. Be present. Learn to listen instead of rushing through things so quickly that we don't care about them. And go the extra mile, which leads me to ingredient number 3, which is serving. When loving and caring meet, our response is serving. Our response is to serve. It's to see the needs of others around us and be aware of what those needs are. It's not saying that you need to deny yourself and that you can't have anything good for yourself and it's all about other people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is be aware of what's going on around you. Be aware of the other people that are around you. One of the people that embodies this the most in my life is one of my 6-year-old daughters. And if you're wondering, yes, I do have a daughter story for every occasion. I have 4 daughters. And so my 6-year-old daughter, she is the most serving person I can think of. Anytime her mom or myself need help with anything, if we have things in our arms, she's always taking things out. Can I hold this for you? Let me open the door for you. Let me take care of this. She's always serving. Is that I looked at my 6-year-old and thought to myself, what is it about her that makes her so serving? Why does she have just a bigger heart than everyone else? What is it? And I realized it's not that she's just amazing at serving. It's that she notices the needs of the people around her. We all possess that. We can all be serving, but a lot of times we simply just don't notice the needs of the people around us. We're not aware of the things that the people around us need. Students, you can change the world, and you've heard this. And honestly, I'm not saying that you can change the entire world, but what I'm telling you today, and I want you to know, is that you can change your world. You can change the world around you. You have so much potential. That's why I work with students, because I know the potential that you have. I believe in you, and I don't think that you're the future leaders. I think you're the leaders of today, the leaders of now, and you can make an impact on our world now. Your paths will take you in so many different directions. The things that you will do, the places that you will go, the decisions that you will make. But whatever direction you take, follow the recipe. Remember that there's a recipe for success. And it's not difficult, it's simply loving, caring, and serving those around you.